Hey everybody, I hope and pray that you're doing well. Today we come to our word from the word. And today that word is reliable. Reliable. Now, I don't know about you, but things are just not made the way they used to be, right? I know some of you that are much older than me, you know that, man, you probably still have some things that you've had for 30, 40 years that still work, and things that you've had for 3 months that are already broken. And that's just kind of the way things are. It doesn't seem like anything's as reliable as it once was. And I've dealt with broken down vehicles. I know we've all dealt with things like that that break down and just are not reliable. And before we go out and spend a lot of money on something else, we kind of want to do a little background, a little history on them, and find out, hey, is this a reliable brand? Is this a reliable product? And we get information from others, and you look at the reviews online, and you ask other people, right? People that actually bought it, actually used it, and you ask people that you trust, right? I may look at some reviews online, and okay, that has a little bit of weight in it. But if it's somebody that I know and trust, and they give me their opinion and what they saw firsthand, it carries a lot more weight. Now, if you think about that in the grand scheme of things, and even as it applies to our faith in God and the way that He is reliable, we ought to be the ones. Not that God needs us to give Him a 5-star review, but it's others need to be able to come to us and see what's our experience been with the Lord. That we're always ready and willing to give a testimony about the hope that is within us. That's what the Scriptures tell us to do. So here's we're looking in Psalm 46 today. And this week, if you're watching daily, we'll be through 46 through Psalm 50. And as always, I encourage you to read the whole psalm each and every day, as I'm only going to deal with a portion of it. But today in Psalm 46, let's just jump right in. Look at the first 3 verses and we'll go from there. It says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear. Even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though its waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling. Selah. Now, here's the whole point. You can go on to this beautiful psalm. He says, we even talked about this Sunday in Sunday school, the reasons that we have fear. Now, we should have a reverential awe of God, but we have nothing to fear other than God, right? And if we really have a true reverential awe and fear of Him, then we'll live in obedience to Him, loving obedience to Him. But now, today, looking at this word reliable, we see that He is a refuge to us. He's a place that we can run to for shelter and for protection. But it says He's a very present help. He's an ever present help. He's always there. It's never been a time where you've gone to pray and God hasn't heard you. Never a time when you went to go call on Him and He was busy, where He couldn't handle your request. There's never a time when He was asleep. Never a time where He was off duty or took a day of vacation. He's reliable. He is always there. Now, that you may say, well, look, I called out to Him, I didn't hear anything. Just because He was silent doesn't mean that He was absent. And too often we confuse the two. We confuse the silence of God with the absence of God, when actually the absence of God is nothing more than chaos and a lot of noise from the enemy. Sometimes the silence is what we need, because then that's when His Spirit begins to work. That's when faith really steps in to play a role. So what do you do when God has poured into you and you've allowed the Scriptures to pour into you and you've been praying and pouring your heart out to God? What do you do then when He's silent? You trust Him. Why? Well, because you've heard from others that He's reliable. You've heard and you've searched the Scriptures and seen that He's reliable. And then you look back at your own past experiences and you know He's a God you can trust. He's a God who's never let you down. Even in the moment when you thought He was letting you down and you thought things were out of control, you actually look back and can see that God was maybe even more so in control than you ever imagined He could be. Why is that? Because He's reliable. Because He's our refuge. Because He's an ever-present help. Aren't you glad today that He'll never let us down? Aren't you glad today that you never get a business signal? Aren't you glad you never have to leave a voicemail with Him? Aren't you glad you never have to try to catch back up with Him at a more convenient time? No, the God of all creation takes time for you and for me because He's a reliable God who we can trust with everything. God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.